Investing in crowdlending is very simple. However, there are some mistakes that, as crowdlending investors, we sometimes make and should be aware of. In this video, I will tell you about the 7 most common mistakes crowdlending investors make and how we can avoid them. Stay until the end, because the last one will surprise you. Before we begin, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss more videos like this, and stay up to date with what's happening in the crowdlending market. Let's get started. Mistake number 1. Not diversifying. The first mistake, and perhaps one of the most common among crowdlending investors, is not diversifying. When we talk about diversifying, we're not just referring to diversifying the types of loans, which we know is advisable, but it's also important to diversify across different platforms. Even if we invest in one platform where our contribution is distributed among many loan originators and types of loans, we should also diversify across different platforms. Why? Because the rules of these platforms can change, regulations can shift, or many other circumstances may arise. Plus, there's the platform risk itself. The platform could face economic difficulties and put our money at risk. Therefore, we should not only diversify in loans, but also across platforms and loan originators. It would also be wise to diversify across countries, as we've seen with loans affected by conflicts like war, which are having difficulties being collected. This might be temporary, but we don't want to have all our money exposed in a single country, platform, or originator. It's good to invest in different types of loans, such as consumer loans, mortgages, or agricultural loans, because this way, we diversify our investment portfolio, which gives us more security in case something goes wrong. Moreover, it's very easy to diversify, as we have many opportunities and platforms where we can invest small amounts of money. It's not necessary to diversify across many platforms. For a regular investor, 4 platforms may be enough. If you're only investing 100 euros, I wouldn't diversify that amount, but if you're investing a larger amount, like 1,000 euros, I would diversify it across different platforms to reduce exposure to a single risk. Mistake number 2, investing in the short term. While it's possible to invest in the short term, this shouldn't be the goal of this type of investment. It's true that some platforms offer the possibility to invest in the short term and withdraw the money whenever we want, like Bondora, but we must keep in mind that it's possible that when we need to withdraw the money, it won't be available. We shouldn't count on that money as liquid. A related mistake is that sometimes we invest in the short term because we're using money that we need. I would never invest money that I'm going to need in the short term. The money I invest is extra money beyond my savings, not money set aside for future purchases or unforeseen events. Investing in the short term won't really show us the benefits of this investment, as the biggest benefits come in the long term, thanks to compound interest, which is generated when we reinvest the interest received. Mistake number 3, investing only in high-yield loans. Another mistake is investing only in loans that offer high yields. We need to understand that by doing this, we limit our diversification options, as not all loans offer high yields. Also, if we set very high yield criteria, there may not be enough loans available to invest in, which means our money could sit idle, generating no return. In the long run, this could result in a lower than expected return, as having money not invested reduces overall profitability. Mistake number 4, believing that high yield means high risk and low yield means low risk. Although it's usually assumed that high yield implies high risk and vice versa, this is not a direct correlation. Not every loan with a high yield has more risk, nor does a loan with a low yield have less risk, especially when comparing across different platforms. Each platform and each loan originator has different risk criteria, so it's not appropriate to compare risk based solely on yield. Mistake number 5, believing that the buyback guarantee eliminates all risk. Some investors believe that having a buyback guarantee means there's no risk, but this is not true. The buyback guarantee only covers the case where the borrower doesn't pay the loan and the loan originator commits to buying it back after a period of 30 or 60 days, depending on the platform. However, there are other risks, such as platform or originator risk. If the originator faces financial difficulties and can't buy back the loans, they won't be able to do so, which means we still have risk. Mistake number 6, drawing hasty conclusions. Some investors draw hasty conclusions when they start investing in a crowdlending platform. To really test a platform, it's necessary to wait a few months. In the first few months, we'll see that loans may have delays in payments, which is normal. We shouldn't be alarmed if we see many loans delayed at first, as it's possible they'll take time to be paid, and until the buyback guarantee is executed, we can't properly assess our investment. Mistake number 7, not being informed. The last mistake is not being informed. Although investing in crowdlending is simple and doesn't require keeping up with daily news like in the stock market or cryptocurrencies, it's still important to be informed about what's happening in the sector and to track our investments. It's recommended to stay up to date at least once a month. We should also keep track of the loan originators, as they're the ones issuing the loans in which we're investing. If any of them face financial difficulties, we need to know in advance so we can make decisions accordingly. It's also a good idea to join communities or forums where other investors share their experiences and updates about different platforms and originators. This way, we can stay informed about any issues or changes in the crowdlending market that could affect our investments. To summarize, the 7 common mistakes that crowdlending investors should avoid are: not diversifying across platforms, loan originators, and countries; investing in the short term instead of focusing on long-term returns; investing only in high-yield loans and neglecting the importance of diversification; assuming that high yield equals high risk and low yield equals low risk without considering the platform and originator specifics; believing that the buyback guarantee eliminates all risks, when it only covers certain scenarios; drawing hasty conclusions about a platform's performance before giving it enough time to demonstrate its true potential; not staying informed about market trends, platform updates, and the financial health of loan originators. By avoiding these mistakes, we can improve our investment strategies and minimize risks and increase the likelihood of achieving better returns in crowdlending. Remember, while crowdlending can be a profitable investment option, it requires careful planning, diversification, and staying informed to navigate successfully. If you enjoyed this video and found the information helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned for more content on crowdlending and other investment strategies. See you in the next video.